Saints head coach Kellen Moore on Spencer Rattler. Teams fighting second half in Mason Tipton. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kellen Moore's press conference after the most thrilling tie he probably has ever had, and his first game as head coach in the Superdome. So that was cool to see. During the intro, so last year, a lot of the times, the offense would come out, the defense would come out, then like a set of players would come out. This time, everyone ran out at the same time. Just the entire team ran out of the tunnel, and then they announced, head coach Kellen Moore, and it was cool. I didn't even think about it, but it's like, oh yeah, wow, this is actually his first time in here, even though it's just the preseason. And the regular season will feel totally different, but it was cool to see.
All right, good game, good battle. Obviously, a unique circumstance of tying a football game, but our locker room was happy and excited, and our guys played really, really well down the stretch. Made some big-time plays, big-time opportunities. Really good lessons for our guys throughout this game, starting fast, getting better from that standpoint, and we'll just keep.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks they've started slow. Back-to-back weeks they have put themselves behind the 8 ball, and they're trying to come back and claw their way back. And in the regular season, or in any time in the NFL, you can't win like that. You cannot go down 2 possessions or constantly go down. You have to score early. When Pete Carmichael was the head coach or the offensive coordinator, we tracked. It was like, I think it wasn't until week 14 or 15 that they scored points or a touchdown, or maybe it was just points in general on their first drive, which is insane. Because the first drive is usually a team's most efficient and successful drive, because usually it's scripted. It's usually the same 10 plays or whatever. Mitchell Trubisky was insane when he was the Bears quarterback. He was really good on the first drive of games. And I know as a bettor, a big trend was take the Bears in the first quarter because they're going to score. Because he was just really good at the scripted plays, but once the scripted plays went away, he started to struggle. So you definitely want to see the Saints start better in the regular season.
Keep growing. Any questions?
Do you think there is still time left on the clock?
We were hoping, yeah. Give everyone what they wanted, which was 1 second, but it didn't happen.
How do you feel in terms of what you saw from both quarterbacks today, but specifically Spencer Rattler bouncing back at the end?
Yeah, I think that was a big moment and opportunity for him to have that great drive going down the field. You throw an interception and have to respond, and he responded really, really well. Put the team in excellent position, did a great job with situational football in that 2-minute drive. His ability to play with his feet, came up in a number of situations, and I just thought our guys did a really good job in that 2 minutes just handling and understanding what the situation was.
Was that a tough decision, who to put in at quarterback on that drive, or did you know?
It had to be Spencer. I mean, I was, for a fleeting moment, I was thinking, man, if Kellen puts Jake Haener in right here, I'm going to be pissed. Excuse my French, okay? But I would not have been happy if he would have thrown Haener in there for the last drive just because it's the last drive. Rattler deserved that chance. It was a 1-possession game. The team was playing well. I thought that was a chess, not checker situation by Kellen. Instead of saying, well, last one, we got to get Haener reps, or, well, it's the rotation. He kind of felt the pulse of the game, felt the pulse of the team. So I thought that was a good job by Kellen.
Given the situation, you wanted to give Spencer a shot.
Yeah, it's tricky because obviously the one downfall to how this game played out was we just had less drives, and Jake didn't get a chance to go in there, which we certainly wanted him to get in there. But I thought it was important just from an evaluation standpoint on Spence. Just those are critical moments. You have a tough situation, you got to respond.
And I love that. I love the adaptability. I love the willingness to pivot. I love the willingness to get away from a plan or get away from a rotation or play it safe, because it would have been safe. It would have been very safe to say, well, this is how we were doing it. This is the rotation. Jake, get in there. And then, who knows what would have happened. But Kellen already in this, his time as head coach, has shown that he understands this. He can really dig into those details and the finer, the really fine decision points. And he's done a good job so far, I think, in managing that. So kudos to him.
Narrowed this quarterback battle down to Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough.
We're just going to keep building through this process, and we think we got 3 really good ones here, and we'll continue to build.
Do you think that decision could come this week before the last preseason game, or do you think it's going to?
We'll see. Obviously I got first sight here, but film will be an important aspect of this thing, and we'll just see how everything progresses leading into this week.
We'll see how it plays out. What I think makes the most sense is you name Rattler the starter this week, going into the third preseason game. The third preseason game is going to be your starter. So you'll have your starting offensive line out there, your starting wide receivers out there, Alvin Kamara out there, whatever. They get a drive or two all together for the first time. Once you name Rattler the starter this week, that gives the team a little, like right around 3 weeks of knowing who the starter is, having a full, like everyone knows, okay? You got to remember, like people keep saying, well, they'll wait until after the third preseason game. There's like a bye week after the preseason game, and then the regular season starts. So if you wait, if you wait and tell your team who the starter is after that game, you're only giving the team like 10 days or something to even know who the starter is, but then there's no prep. Like there's no more camp. There's no more preseason. There's no more anything. It's walk through. It's, you're kind of taking it easy. I think it's valuable that the team handles those 3 weeks as they will in the upcoming season. So even from watching film, going through the locker room, going to practice, going to whatever, going to the preseason game, all of that, doing it with the understanding of who the starters are, I think is important. So I think they will name the starter. I think they'll name Spencer Rattler the starter this week. I think they'll start the third preseason game, and we'll go from there.
Hoping though to have your mind made up before a third preseason game?
Not necessarily. Sooner always is better, but these guys are competing, and they're giving us everything that we can ask, and so we'll continue to evaluate.
What do you need to see in your review of this game to feel comfortable saying this is the first?
Yeah, just the decision making in the process, and just making sure we're going through the right situation, understand the circumstances of the game. There are contexts you got to go understand what the quarterback's going through. But again, this is an evaluation phase for these guys, just like so many other positions on our team, and so
that's another thing too. It's not just, well, I mean, quarterback's a little different because you got to name the starter and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, I feel like I'm watching, Chopped or something. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Hell's Kitchen. I used to freaking love that show. But there are a lot of players that are making noise that are going to have to be on this roster. And players like Jalen Ford. He was kind of a, Dennis Allen holdover, injured. You didn't hear too much about him. All of a sudden now, the way Jalen Ford's playing, he has to be on this roster. So if he's on the roster, who's not on the roster? All right, the way that Stallbird's been playing, he's got to be on this roster. If he is, who's not on the roster? And you can kind of go down the list and name players at every position group. But it's not just the quarterback thing. Like these guys now have to get that roster down to, okay, who actually is on this team? Who actually is going to be out there rotating 19 linebackers and 7 right guards and 11 defensive tackles? Like that has to come to an end. And now we're going to have to find out in the next couple of weeks who actually are who is on that roster.
the film's going to be really important.
Kevin, do you expect the quarterback competition to be this close when training camp begins?
Yeah, all these QBs aren't making this easy because I think they're all doing a really good job, and they're all having their days, and they're taking advantage of opportunities, and so it's an evaluation, and we'll take it where it needs to go.
This is a good situation to be in where they're playing good enough to where there is a competition. If one of them was playing bad enough to where it's not a competition, or they're both playing bad or whatever, then that's not good. But the fact that it is a competition is good for the Saints. And whoever comes out of this, whether it's Rattler starts and then Shough comes in the middle of the season and he looks great, or Shough starts and Rattler, however it plays out, I think at this point I would say it's a net positive. Just the way that this quarterback competition has gone, and it could have gone bad. I mean, it could have completely fell apart. So overall, I think it's gone pretty well.
Kellen, let's talk about Mason Tipton, especially the job he did on that last drive.
Yeah, he's just done a phenomenal job since the first day we all got here collectively as a staff to see what he just continues to do day in and day out, his work ethic, his habits. He made a bunch of big plays, felt like when we needed a play, he was there. And even for him, facing adversity with the interception, because, he was the one around the route. And so, we just think the world of him. He's progressing in such an awesome way. And again, like any of these guys, when you take advantage of opportunities, more come your way, and he's just following that trend line.
Mason wasn't drafted by Kellen, but he does kind of fit the role of a Kellen, or what the staff seems to draft. High character guy, high motor, smart player. The only thing that he has this a little different than the rest of the draft classes. He didn't play at a power school. He went to Yale. So if it wasn't for that, I feel like Mason Tipton would be like a perfect Kellen Moore kind of player.
Seen Torricelli Simpkins take advantage of the opportunities you got to give him.
He's played a ton of reps through 2 preseason games, and it's been incredible to see. The moment's never too big for him. I think that's the cool thing is, he's hopped into some situations where he's played early in these games, earlier than anticipated, played against some, challenging opponents, and he just hops in there and plays ball, and, so we're really excited with what he's building.
So funny, he said how many reps he's played. Me and the fellas up in the stands, we were talking about it. We were like, man, he's played a ton. There's a couple guys, like Quincy Riley's one, Stallbird's one, Danny Stutsman's one, Sanker's one. There's some guys out here who are playing basically the entire game. And some of these guys are probably going to play a lot during the regular season. I don't think Torricelli will unless he moves to guard, but some of these guys will have a lot of football. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that Kendre Miller hasn't played more than preseason, because it seems like he needs these reps. And I understand he's a running back and it's a whole different situation, but I'm kind of surprised they haven't allowed him to have more of like a full game. Because even walking back from the game, it was like, all right, Kendre Miller really flashed. Kendre Miller looked good. And I said, let me guess his stat line. It's going to be like, 8 carries for 15 yards with 1 carry for 9 yards. And it's like, that's how it always is. It's like 1 carry, that's a nice play, and then virtually nothing else, and then it averages out to like somewhere between 2.5 and 3 yards a carry. And then you're looking at the body of work like, I don't even know what to take from this. Do I take this like this box score and just look at it and say, well, damn, if it wasn't for the 1 run, he went 7 carries for 9 yards? Or do I look at the 1 run and say, well, he's really dynamic, he's got some stuff here? So I think it would have been good in one of these games to give him more of a workload just to kind of see what he actually has going on. But yeah, Torricelli has played a ton of football and has looked good the entire time.
I think just consistency, and I think the most important thing is his play style. We love how physical he plays, how aggressive he plays. It's not all perfect. It's not expected to be perfect at this stage of his career, but his play style is everything we want.
Do you guys need to have like a dress rehearsal type game before going into the season where like everybody plays?
We'll see how we're going to build this thing out this week, and we'll see where it is. We'll have 3 practices. We'll have the game against Denver on Saturday. So I think we're setting up ourselves for a really good work week this week to kind of build, and we'll see how that Saturday plays out.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, I think that was Nick that asked that question. He said, like, do you need like a dress rehearsal game? That's kind of what I was hinting at earlier, is that I think they do. And I think very early on this week, you're going to get reports of, okay, who are the ones, right? And if you're seeing Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough take those reps as the one, probably assume, okay, well, they're using this week as a dress rehearsal. They're not saying it. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. So be paying attention to who in those practices is running with the ones, who's out there, where they are. And I mean, for example, if all of a sudden it's McCoy at center, Ruiz at right guard, Fuaga, and then Torricelli's a left guard, well, you can probably assume he's going to play left guard when Penning's hurt. Like things like that are worth monitoring this week.
I know you haven't reviewed the tape and everything like that yet, but what was your understanding of what happened on Spencer's interception? He looked like he expected something different.
Yeah, it was a slant, and there was a little bit of a traffic situation for Mason, and the corner made a phenomenal play. He jumped it. He made a phenomenal play. Obviously, something for us to look at. We ran a similar play a couple times, and so maybe one too many, but I thought the kid made a phenomenal play, and Mason kind of got stuck in a little bit of a traffic jam where he wasn't able to finish through the route. So, it was a challenging situation.
Mason's come out, team player Mason, but Mason's come out and said, yeah, that was my fault. I should have ran through the route. So it's a moot point, but it seems like now Kellen, Spencer, and Mason have all said the same thing happened on that play.
When something like that happens, how much do you put on a quarterback? Does he have time to recognize that, or that's a timing throw?
It's a tricky one. I think we'll evaluate it and see truly what the picture looked like. But in the moment, felt like he gave us a good opportunity by making that throw. It was a single high look, and we had 2 over 2. And again, the corner made a really good play.
What was your message to him after that? Did you say anything to him on the sideline after that pick?
Yeah, it's just all about how we respond. We have a big-time opportunity. We're still down 8. Our defense made a big-time stop there, put us in a position to go battle for a tie, and it was really fun to see those guys respond.
And I know you talked about the few amount of drives factored into Jake not playing today,
Yeah.
but did the fact that that drive by Spencer end with a pick factor into him going back out there again to maybe end on a high note?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I think what also factored in was that it was an 8-point game. The fact that, all right, it's a 1-possession game, you can go tie this thing. If Jacksonville would have scored, then I think Haener comes in, because then it's not the pressure on that drive. It's a totally different situation. But I think because it was the pick on the last play, the chance to tie, all of that, I think was why Spencer went in there. And, we talked about Kellen in the first preseason game helping out Shough a lot with the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half. Fair and balanced. He helped out Spencer a lot, or he showed a lot of grace to Spencer, saying, I'm going to let you have this final drive. I'm going to let you do this.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's critical that when these guys go through those situations, it's a big time moment of how do you respond. That's what we evaluate these guys all the time on. And so, it was a goofy situation. It was tricky. I would have loved for Jake to have been in there, but I felt like it was important for us from an evaluation standpoint.
In the first quarter,
Yeah. I think he's fine. We got a few guys that kind of got a little banged up, but
yeah, Caesar went in the tent. He got rolled up on, went in the medical tent, but from what I understand, he's okay.
We'll get the reports and we'll see how the week goes.
Yeah, what is it about that second quarter, about that goes thing, that just plays more aggressive than this last week?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have the answer to that one, but I think for our whole team, I think just playing a little bit faster earlier in the game. We got to play faster. We got to open up first quarter, play better. That'll be something for us to learn, especially a noon kickoff. You got to be be ready to rock and roll, and so we'll grow in that aspect.
Yeah, you absolutely, like I said, you absolutely cannot struggle in that first quarter. You cannot be a team that, I actually was thinking about this during the game. We still have to wait and see until we start saying, oh, the offense can't do this, oh, the offense can't do that. But I think the fact that they can't run the football very, very well kind of leads to why the first half is a slog, because they're trying to run the football, but they can't. And then once they have to pretty much abandon the run, that's when things kind of pick up. Now, that might change if they can run the football, right? You might have more success. Drives might look a little bit different. It seems like the Saints were constantly in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, never in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. And that's because they're putting themselves in 2nd and 10s because they can't run. So then you're in 2nd and 10, have a 3-4 yard play on 2nd down, boom, 3rd and 6, boom, 3rd and 7. And that happened all day long.
In the first quarter, it looks like the Jaguars had gotten to the right side of the line with that stunt twice on intentional grounding on the sack. I know the Rams were having some success with that. Is that an easy fix? Is that a communication between two guys thing?
I'd say it's something we definitely have to evaluate, and we have to get better, because line movement exists in this league. It's a challenge. It's hard for offensive linemen. There was a pressure, I know for sure, on one of them with the safety. But movement happens. We got to be able to respond to it, and it's being all coordinated and being on the same page.
How much do you show? How much do you actually show your hand in preseason?
Yeah, we're obviously conscious of that. We want to give our guys an excellent opportunity to be successful. We don't want to shortchange them in any way. There's naturally some things that we'll continue to build and kind of wait for the regular season to.
So, when you're evaluating,
I thought in the second half, and I don't know what the playbook is, but I thought in the second half Kellen opened it up. I thought he realized we need this. We need to have some success here. Let's open up the playbook a little bit. Let's take some shots. Let's do some things. Let's get a little cute, and let's try and win this game or tie this game or whatever. And I can't prove it, but I think he also felt that where I can't keep it safe to where we're not doing anything, because that might mess with the momentum and just kind of how these players feel. So it's imperative that we do well on this drive and that drive and this drive. So I'm gonna go ahead and show something here.
quarterbacks, is there an element of the on-team
I'll give you an example. On the 4th and 1 or whatever it was, I thought they were going to do the tush push, because I thought he was thinking, well, it's more important that I get this first down than holding this. So I'll go ahead and show it. I thought they were going to line up, and they ended up doing like a heavy package, which when they came out there, I was like, okay, this is definitely going to be a tush push.
We can do this to help him in this spot. Like, you also add into the, like, how does that factor into the evaluation? Well, maybe you aren't doing everything.
There's a few game management items that just come up that, hey, we may play out a situation a little bit different based off of a regular season game. But for the most part, I mean, we're competing, we're playing ball. Yeah. Schematically, there's a few items that maybe you don't do during the regular season that we'll or during the preseason that we do in the regular season. But, I think these guys are going out there and competing.
You really talked about how much y'all really harped on situational football, so to see everything unfold in the 2-minute drive on both sides of the ball, how impressed were you with that?
It was awesome. It's just a good example of our guys of taking walkthroughs to practice to games and the stuff that goes into that, because there's situations every single Sunday that sometimes you get one shot of in an August walkthrough that's ultimately going to come up, and we played out a couple of those right at the end, and for those guys to be on the same page, understand what play was coming, what the situation was, what would have to be the response based off of the clock. I thought our guys just did an awesome job.
How would you evaluate the running game today?
Yeah, running game, I think, we just continue to feel like, there's more out there. I think our play style is getting better. Our finish is getting better. But, we got to get better in that aspect.
Valus ran the ball pretty well today.
Obviously, this was a tie. But the way it ended, does this feel like you won?
I felt like our guys just loved how we faced adversity and we met the challenge. And, I think there's a lot of energy, a lot of juice. Our locker room, felt like a win in many ways, just from the standpoint of how it ended, that, we were put in a challenging situation. We fought ourselves back. Offense made some big-time plays there just to score. Defense had a great response. Sanker's pick was awesome. Everyone was hoping for the 1 second so we can, put Charlie out there for a winner, but it didn't happen.
Food for thought. This is something that we were talking about in the stands as well, is, okay, 20 seconds left. What do you do? Remember, there's a new touchback where now the touchbacks are at the 35. With the way kickers are now, if you have a 65-yard field goal, they're going to attempt that. And a lot of them can make that. So I think, and they ended up, Charlie kicked it through the end zone. I guarantee you during this evaluation of this game, they will make a note of do not do that. Make them run it back, because when you're on the 35, you are a defensive pass interference away or a penalty away or a first down away. With 20 seconds, that's a lot of time from them kicking a field goal and winning that game. I think you'd rather kick it to make them bring it out to they might not get to the 35 and they're burning clock. The clock right there is more important than anything else. So I would bet that in that situation in a game in 6-7 weeks, they're not going to kick it in the end zone.
Generally surprised the fans got vocal for your decision to play in a preseason game.
Yeah, I'm going to get a few of those, so I get it. Those are always those fun challenges. Fourth down decision-making is what it is. Some you're going to love, some you're going to have to, bite the bullet, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, so Kellen got booed. First time getting booed. Unbelievable. Good. I mean, hey, it is what it is. It was 4th and 5. It was on the play. Rattler was like 3rd and 19. Rattler rolled out, then threw it across his body, threw a dart to Dante Pettis, who was short. It ended up being a 4th and 5. I think the Saints were on their own, like 35-ish, somewhere in there. It was a one-possession game. In no universe do you go for that. It's a one-possession game. They have like a third-string quarterback in there. Your defense has been playing well. You always punt that ball. If it was 4th and inches, maybe 4th and 5. No, you always punt that. Let your defense, try and win this one possession game. If it's a 2-possession game, maybe, if you got to make up some ground. But I know the crowd wanted him to go for it, but that was a no-brainer punt.
And I felt like our defense is playing really well. We're still in a one-score game, and so we punted, and defense did another 3 and out, so it was good.
Is that decision also easier to make just in the punt unit out when you have a punt battle going on? Like, does that factor into the decision?
No. All game circumstance.
Yeah, and I definitely think the fact that it was a third-string quarterback on the other side is much more of like, let's just get a stop. If it's Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense, it's kind of funny. Do y'all know what the Jaguars' record was last year? Does anybody know? Don't look it up. What do you think it was? 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins? What do you think it was? They were 4-13. it always blows my mind when I see these teams and I'm reminded how bad they were last year, and no one talks about it. You would think the Saints going 5-12 was the worst record the NFL's ever seen. But a team like the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, $280 million quarterback, whatever he is. Brian Thomas was incredible last year. Back-to-back first overall picks. And the Jags won 4 games. 4. Think about how bad the Saints were last year. They won 5 games. And we're not paying our quarterback $300 million.
Did you try to call all your decisions as if it was a regular season game? Do you ever think, it's a preseason game, let's do this? Or did you try to...
There's just a couple items, but I think it's really good exercise for all of us, especially...
I think when certain players aren't out there, you have to call it differently, but I would think he mostly is trying to do things as he would in the game to let his players know what to expect during the regular season.
Those end of game situations, the timeouts, playing defense in 4-minute mode, playing offense in 2-minute. Our defense just an awesome job at the end because they're right on field goal range. Their kicker just kicked a 70-yarder the last week, and so we were playing in a really good contested situation. Our guys did an excellent job of contesting the receivers and made a play.
Kind of the same thing for the Jaguars, but it's like, why are you throwing the ball there? I don't know why they were throwing the ball or what exactly they were doing. I thought they operated kind of weird at the end of the game.
The decision to have Chris and Rashid active, obviously there's a lot of players who weren't. So
just so Cooksey and Juwan played last week, and then we kind of had a plan of flip-flopping those guys, put Sheed and CO in this game, and I think just for them, just to get their self acclimated back into a game, short little instance, 8 to 12 plays, and so I think that puts them in position. They haven't played for a little while as well, and we'll see how the third preseason goes.
Olave had that drop on 3rd and 7. I thought he was going to come back in because you don't want to end but I guess at that point, don't let pride get in the way of anything else. But I thought he was going to come back in after that drop.
Yeah, Chris, this was his first game since the injury last year. Did that was that just helpful to kind of get out there?
I think it's good for any of these guys just to get out there and play the game, no matter the length that it is. We'll try and do that with as many guys as we can, but we'll see how this week progresses.
Kelvin Bankman's been a big spot. What have you seen out of him in the first 2 games?
Yeah,
Kelvin's done a really nice job. When you add those 2 and a joint practice with the Rams, he's gotten some really good work now against 3 teams, different schemes, different exposures. He just needs all that. He just needs to keep responding the right way. I think that's the beauty of what the player that he is. He's going to do a ton of really good things for us, and when something doesn't go his way, he hops up and he's ready to play the next play, and so we're thinking he's heading in the right direction.
Kellen, how was it for you coaching the Dome? You're going to be home for a while now, all the way through the first 2 regular season home.
Yeah, this Dome is awesome, and the Caesar Superdome is our home, and we got to treat it like that, and it's going to be big time. It's going to take this entire community, our team, everyone rallying together. It's got to be a place that's a big time opportunity for us to win at home and control this place.
What do you think of the tackling overall? It seems like there were some missed tackles early on in the game.
Yeah, real quick though. I mean, he's right. They're going to be here for a while. The preseason game, game 2, game 3, bye week, regular season week 1, regular season week 2. So they're going to be home for 6 weeks before they go to the Seattle Buffalo. So yeah, that's an interesting spot for them, but it's only positive. I mean, that's good, to have everybody here and not traveling and whatnot. So I didn't think about that until just now, but that is pretty dope.
I took a note on it. Just it felt like there was a few opportunities where we could have tackled a couple. It felt like when one guy missed a tackle, it was 3 or 4 in a couple instances, and so they caught a screen, missed a couple tackles there, and it turned into a big gain. And so something we'll keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think it was DeMarco Jackson missed a tackle that led to a touchdown. That was rough in the early onset of the game. But yeah, tackling got to be better.
With the limitations of tackling in practices and things like that, how do you go about addressing something like that this early?
Yeah, we'll evaluate it. There's obviously a lot of fundamentals associated with it that we can continue to build through practice, and so we just got to harp on it.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Kellen Moore, love him like a brother. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.